This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is Memphis Grizzlies forward Jon Leuer. While Grizzlies star center Marc Gasol was missing 23 games with a knee injury, head coach Dave Joerger was going deep into his bench to find anyone who could step up and help keep the team afloat. Reserve big man Jon Leuer, the former Wisconsin Badger, was one who heard his name called early and often. Leuer stepped in and won the hearts of many, providing the team with a solid all-around effort night in and night out, and undoubtedly proving to many that he could play consistent reserve minutes in the NBA. But since the return of Gasol and the signing of James Johnson, Leuer seems to be the odd man out. His minutes have diminished, but his enthusiasm to help the team in any manner hasn't. Today, the consummate team player Jon Leuer talks about his college days, his role with the Grizzlies, and his expectations for the rest of the season. Next on Sports Files. Well, Jon, thank you so much for being with me.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Appreciate you coming in. I read this on Wikipedia. You can't always believe everything you read on Wikipedia, but you entered high school in Minnesota as a guard. You grew 10 inches and became a forward/center. First of all, is that true? Second of all, what are you drinking in Minnesota to grow 10 inches in high school?
Yeah, it was true. My freshman year, I was like 6 feet, 5'11", and by my junior year, I was like 6'8", 6'9". So it was a big transition. But you know, as fast as I grew, I don't feel like I really ever, became unathletic or lost mobility. It was easier than you would think, I guess. But it was a big transition. I was buying new clothes all the time and going through shoes like crazy. But playing growing up, seeing the game from a guard's perspective, I think that really helped me. And I have that skill set still.
Exactly.
And it's just something that I had to transition and learn the game as a big man once I got to high school.
Yeah, to have the handles of being a guard and to be able to still do a good job with the basketball, if you're pressed into that situation, even though you're a big man, you have that to rely on.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you see the game as a guard from a different perspective. And, when I get into those situations where I'm on the perimeter and I have the ball and I'm, dribble handoff with the guard, I feel comfortable with that skill set. And, shooting, dribbling, that stuff comes pretty natural to me.
All right, you're a Minnesota kid, but you go to Wisconsin. First of all, did Tubby Smith recruit you in Minnesota, and why Wisconsin, and how was it for you there?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a lot, actually. Tubby wasn't there. Dan Munson was there.
Dan Munson was there, okay.
They were kind of going through a little bit of a tough time, so I took a visit to Wisconsin and just fell in love with it. It's a great campus, great coaches. Playing for Coach Ryan was a great opportunity for me, and I love the guys in the team. And once I took a visit there, I knew it was the right school for me.
Your junior year, I read about the game you guys played against Purdue. They were nationally ranked. You upset them. You played 38 minutes of the 40 minutes. You didn't shoot the ball well, but there was a reason. You end up having, was it a broken wrist?
Yeah, broke my left wrist
Did you know
early in the game.
Did you know something was wrong, or did you just play with the pain?
Yeah, I had never broken a bone before, so I went up for an offensive rebound and my foot got caught in Juwan Johnson's shorts, and it just took my legs out and landed on it. And I knew something was wrong, but it was painful. But you have so much adrenaline going that I just kept playing. And after the game, we went and got it X-rayed. I thought it wouldn't be anything, and they said it was broken. I'd be out for the season, and I was just devastated by it. But fortunately, I was a quick healer and got to come back, play in the NCAA tournament, and get back with my team.
I know you're very good with the academics as well and get a great education at Wisconsin, but you're a rarity the 4 years. Mm-hmm. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more rare, going 4 years and making it to the NBA. But My time at Wisconsin was great, and my development as a player and as a person on and off the court was big for me, and I would never trade those 4 years for anything.
You're drafted by the Bucks in the second round. Timing is everything. The lockout comes, and now you got to decide what you're going to do. You end up signing a contract to play in Germany, and you stay there for how many months did you end up?
I think I was there for 4 months, 3.5, 4 months.
You had the contract, though, where you could leave once the lockout ended, which you did. But what was it like in Germany? What was that experience like?
It was different, for sure. I mean, going from college where you're around, 40,000 kids your age to going to a whole different country and, playing with grown men and just the whole culture shock, too. Going from college to a whole new country, it was different. But looking back, it was a great experience for me. I got out of my comfort zone and just had to grow up fast over there. And you learn how to be a pro, and it was a good experience for me looking back at it.
The lockout ends. You're with Milwaukee. Boy, first of all, what people try to envision what the difference is playing pro in Europe or somewhere around the world other than the NBA and then playing in the NBA. Is it just completely night and day?
There's some similarities. I mean, just the style of play is a little bit different. There's no defensive 3 seconds over there. It's a little bit different style of game, but it's not a huge difference overall. And that's why I think it was good for me to go over there and kind of have that transition period of what pro basketball is like coming from college. And once I got back here, I had a little bit better of idea of what to expect.
So you're traded from Milwaukee to Houston, and then you're released the next month, and then Cleveland picks you up. Do you start to wonder, John, boy, am I going to be good enough to stick in this league?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a tough stretch for me. Just felt like everything that could go wrong would go wrong. And, but at the same time, I knew that, I just got caught up in something that I really didn't have control of. Those were decisions made by other people that I couldn't control. So I just had to focus on what I could control, and that was, my work ethic and just trust in my game, my ability. And, my confidence might have taken a little bit of a hit, but I just really tried to, control what I can control, get in the gym every day, just keep working. And I really did believe that, I could be a good player in this league. You
start to get into a groove in Cleveland, and then the trade happens about a year ago where you come to Memphis. What's going through your mind when you're dealt and you're about to play for a fourth team?
To be honest, excitement. I knew the team they had here. Going to a winning organization, we lost a lot of games in Cleveland, and that just weighs on everybody. Nobody wants to be in a losing environment, and that's really what we had there. So to come here and be a part of this team with great players and learn from the coaches was a blessing for me.
You didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but you're a part of this amazing experience for the organization and for this city, the run to the Western Conference Finals. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, to go have that experience as a young player, my second year in the league, going to the Western Conference Finals, even though, I wasn't on the court a lot, but, it was just a great experience. And to see, the city rally around us and be behind us, you really, or I really got a taste of what, Memphis is all about and how much the Grizzlies mean to this city.
Yeah, what did you expect? And then what was the reality when you saw these rabid fans?
Yeah, I mean, obviously hadn't played here a lot, just in the, 1 or 2 times a year that I'd been here for a road game. But, these fans are great, and they really support the team, and you can see Memphis is a tight-knit community, and they rally around the Grizzlies, like I said, and to go on the run we had, you could see that even more so.
Well, speaking of support, it seems like, John, once the trade took place, you do have the support of the staff, the coaching staff, the administration, the front office people. It seems like they got your back. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I do, and that's always good to have. When coaches are telling you you're doing everything you need to be doing to get on the court and be a successful player, and management guys in the front office are telling me the same thing. So to have that, it definitely gives you confidence.
All right, nobody's going to outwork you. We know how hard you work in practice. Mark goes down with the injury, and now all of a sudden John Lord's hearing his name called an awful lot. And you come in, and you not only do a good job, but I think you prove to everybody around the league who pays that close attention to the Grizzlies that you can play the game. How excited were you to get the opportunity? And number two, how good do you feel about what you've done to help the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was tough when Mark goes down, and he's the best center in the league in our mind and in a lot of people's minds, I think. But at the same time, I knew there would be opportunity to come in and step up, and I think me and Ed Davis and Costa, we kind of took that upon ourselves as a challenge to come in and contribute. And once I got playing consistent minutes, I just felt like I could contribute and help this team, and I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. We just wanted to hold it together as long as we could until Mark got back, because we knew once he gets back, he'd give us such a big lift. So, I just tried to come in and do whatever I could to help the team.
Yeah, I don't know if people thought, well, he's there, but I don't know, can he really play? Do you feel like you proved people wrong that had doubts?
Yeah, like I said, it was exciting to come in and play some consistent minutes, and that's anytime you can come in and do that, it's great. I'm not a big guy on focusing on what other people are saying.
Right.
Obviously you hear things around the league and whatever guys are saying, but you need tunnel vision. And like I said before, when all that tough stretch when I got traded and got cut, I just focused on what I could control, and that's really been my mindset ever since then. Because there's so much that can happen around this league, and I've learned that in my young career, and you really just have to focus on what you can control. And like I said, I trust in my ability and what I can do, and when I get out on the court, I feel confident.
They probably ingrained this into your head. The slogan, "It's a business. Mm-hmm. It's a business. Expect anything." Mm-hmm. All right, Marc Gasol comes back. He's back with the Grizzlies now. Seems to be healthy. Still trying to get into the groove. Some guys are going to lose minutes. Obviously, it seems like you're one of those guys. You've played some. There's games that you have not played. How hard is that now to accept that role, or can you accept that role?
Yeah, as a competitor, you want to be on the court and help the team. But at the same time, I understand that, my job is to be ready whenever I'm called upon. And, I understand that, and I'm ready to go whenever Coach calls my name.
Do you think it's a matter of we always hear matchups, whether it be an individual one-on-one matchup or maybe what a team brings to the table against the Grizzlies? Does Dave say that to you and maybe others that possibly can lose minutes and have since Mark's return, that we'll see what the matchup is and we'll use your talents in those situations when we deem necessary? Yeah,
that is communicated to us as players, that on any given night matchups can go different way. Different teams have different personnel, different styles of play. So on a night-to-night basis, you never know. And sometimes it's not even matchups. Sometimes it's just the way the game is flowing. If we need some energy or we're hitting a rough stretch, and you can be put in there. And like I said, your job is to be ready to go and contribute. And I feel like I'm always focused on that.
Can this team make the playoffs?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. To have what happened with all the injuries we've had and what we've been through so far, we're halfway through the year, and I think we're right there. And these next 42 games, I think it's 42 left, will determine that. And I think we're all excited for what we can do in the last half of the season.
Was the thought process basically, while Mark was gone and Tony's been out an awful lot, let's do our thing, let's stay afloat, let's stay around 500, and then when we get everybody back and have the full arsenal, we're going to make this run?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's such a long season, and injuries can happen, and you're going to have rough stretches, and it's just a matter of how you bounce back from those. And I think everybody's mentality in the locker room is a winning mentality. And once we get everybody healthy, and we've ran off a couple wins. We had a bad game against New Orleans, but I think everybody sees that we're building towards success. And we had a rough stretch. We're not where we want to be record-wise right now, but we're just continuing to work hard. And like I said, everybody has that winning mentality, and we're just going to keep grinding.
All right, who's the toughest guy you've gone against in the NBA so far in your young career? And you can't say anybody in practice like Z-Bo or Gasol.
Well, those are two
they
tough
are.
guys for sure.
Give me another name.
I would say Dirk. He's, you know, a lot of times it's just a matter of he misses. There's nothing really you can do because he's so big and he gets his shot off with ease on everybody. But you just try to crowd him, take away his space, but he can still get a shot off. So he's probably the toughest.
A 7-footer who falls away, you're not going to reach it.
Right.
What's your game day ritual? You got the shoot around. What are you doing the rest of the day before the game?
Take my pregame nap. Always got to have that, and then go to get some lunch, usually just like a sandwich or soup, and then go to the arena probably 2.5 hours early, 3 hours early, and they have food for us there, so I'll eat.
You'll eat again.
Eat again, and then get shots up with Coach Bob Thornton. Go through my routine. After that, just get ready to go. All
right. We like to end every interview by finding out more about our interviewee. It's called Five for the Road. Yeah, take a swig of that. You're going to need it here because I want quick answers. First thing that comes to your head, John, for these 5 questions. Not real hard. Not going to ask you algebra questions or anything like that. But you're a Wisconsin grad, so you'd answer it. Favorite professional sports team? And don't tell me the Grizzlies.
Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings. New stadium. You got to be excited about that.
Yeah, the other one collapsed. So.
It did. It wasn't the best. Favorite professional athlete?
Of all time?
Yes. Any sport?
I would say Peyton Manning.
Okay. What's your favorite music? Either the genre or maybe an artist you like to listen to, maybe even before a game you listen to?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a wide variety. I think I like country, but before a game, I'll listen to Jay-Z or Drake or somebody like that.
Before a game. But you like country, so you need to visit Nashville.
I like rock and roll too.
All right, wide variety.
Yeah, wide variety.
Favorite movie of all time?
I would say The Godfather.
Okay. Academy Award winner. Godfather 2. Academy Award winner. Can't go wrong either one.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the third one because I heard it was horrible. Everybody has told me it was bad, so
it's not exactly Caddyshack 2, but it's not that good. Yeah, stick with 1 and 2. Finally, favorite television show?
I'm on Sons of Anarchy right now, so I got to go with that.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
I haven't. I have not watched it. I watched the first few episodes, didn't really get hooked into it. But everybody tells me you have to stick with it, so I'll probably give it another try.
Sounds great. John, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Absolute pleasure, continued success. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, it's overtime. The Grizzlies wrap up their 3-game road trip tomorrow night at Minnesota. The Rhodes College women's basketball team advanced to the second round of last year's NCAA Division III tournament, winning 25 games overall and capturing the SAA regular season and tournament titles. This season, the Lynx are trying to duplicate their success of a year ago, perhaps even exceed it. They are off to a 13-3 start and a 5-1 conference mark. Their losses have twice come by 2 points and once by 5. Senior Lauren Avant leads the team in scoring at 24 points per game and is a 3-time Conference Player of the Week. Rhodes has been ranked in the top 25 for most of the season, falling out just days ago. And recently I had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dean to get his thoughts on the season to date and his perspective for the rest of the year. Well, Matt, great to see you again.
It's exciting to have you here, Greg. It's been a year since we talked, but it's been a good spot for our basketball program right now. We're in a good place right now.
You really are. Last year, sensational year, 25 wins. You went to the Division III NCAA tournament, got to the second round. This year, nationally ranked from the start of the season. You continue to be in the national rankings. What is that like?
Well, obviously expectations make things different for our kids because in the past, like last year we talked, we were a little bit under the radar, had a great season. The last few games were very challenging and won some big games to get in the NCAA tournament. This year from the start, people expected us to win the league, also expect us to be a top 20 team every night, and so far I don't think we've disappointed. We're leading the league in points scored, leading the league in points allowed. So our win margin's over 20. You know, every night we're getting a consistent effort for a lot of players.
The young ladies have not shown any pressure or any type of problems with the fact that they are wearing the bullseye this time around, when last year they kind of snuck up on people.
No, it's so true. And I think one of the things that we've done from the start is we've talked about that. We told them that every night you're going to have to bring your A game, because no matter who you're playing, a win over us would make their season. So, you know, a couple weeks ago we had a really tough loss on the road to a team below 500, and since that time we've rebounded with 3 straight wins. So we're in good position with 5 weekends left. We're atop the conference standings, and we're hopeful that, you know, take it one game at a time, but hopefully we'll get back.
You have a sensational senior in Lauren Avon, who we profiled last year, but you have a lot of other talents, not just Lauren on this team. Tell us a little bit about your squad.
Well, I think it starts with our junior class. You know, we brought these 4 juniors in last year. Sarah Johnson from Little Rock is our point guard. Natalie Goodrum from Nashville is a wing or 2 guard. And then you have Danelle Taubman from Athens, Georgia, and then also Catherine Eckert from Austin, Texas. Since these juniors have stepped on campus, Greg, they're 55 and 14. So they ironically stepped on campus at the same time that Lauren transferred in. So that's been a great addition. They play so well together. They buy into the team defensive philosophy. You know, last year we talked a little bit about our formula. We don't always shoot it the best, but we have a high turnover clip. We're averaging 10 extra possessions a game. And with those extra possessions, we're converting enough to win basketball games.
How would you compare this year's squad to last year's squad?
We're deeper. You know, we lost some key leaders off last year's team, but the reality is we probably returned 7 of our top 8 players. And then you add in Simone Daniels, who's a local product at St. Benedict Academy, another Division I transfer, and some of our other freshmen. And we've just been really, you know, 1 through 5, all the way up to 9 or 10 on the bench. We don't drop off at all when we substitute during a basketball game.
How do you sell the program nationally?
Well, you know, Rhodes in general is a great product. You know, our school is basically in every survey out there in terms of top 50 schools in America. You know, we view ourselves as kind of like the Harvard of the South a little bit, not to get Jeff Calkins upset with us, but, you know, honestly, it's a great value for education. Most of our kids have very ambitious dreams when they leave Rhodes College. So the first thing we do to sell the kids on is not really basketball, Greg. It's the academics and the reputation of the school. And now we feel like we're kind of reaping the rewards on the basketball side, because we're getting kids contacting us, where in the past we were seeking them out.
Right. You were talking a little bit earlier about your philosophy as a coach. Even though we live in a world where everybody wants to see offense, 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 you basically get your offense from your defense. Turnovers, transition basketball, forcing other teams to make mistakes.
Absolutely. I'll give you a great example. We forced 32 turnovers on Saturday, and we had 10. So we had 22 extra possessions, which led to probably 25 more shots. Well, I'm not a math major, but if I get 25 more shots than you during the course of a basketball team, I have a great chance of winning that basketball game. So we want to stay even on the glass. We want to force, you know, 20-plus turnovers a game. We want to limit our turnovers as a basketball team. If we do those things, we don't have to be as efficient from the perimeter. And, you know, quite honestly, we're very good at defense. We're a good help side team. We get over ball screens. We have some gimmicks. You know, a lot of teams will try to press. We take great pride in our half-court man, and we'll mix it up with some different trap combinations. And we lead the league in field goal percentage defense as well, which we take great pride in.
What is the general reaction from local players that you're going after, trying to sell Rhodes College to them? What do they think of Rhodes and the program?
Instantly, they think of the school and the great academic value. You know, this is my 23rd year at Rhodes, my 12th year as the women's head basketball coach. But we've had so many kids that have graduated that I've coached that are either lawyers or doctors or in the business world and very successful, that it's easy for me to sell Rhodes in terms of the post-Rhodes experience. I think the interesting thing now is they're talking to us more about basketball, because we're in the top 25 and we're getting a lot of exposure. We're on TV some nights. You know,
exactly.
You've talked to us twice in 2 years. So that's really helped the basketball side of things. Before these last few years, it was more selling the college exclusively on academics. Now we're like, hey, we're hanging banners too.
All right, final few seconds. I'll put you right on the spot here. We got a ways to go for this season to play out. Will Rhodes win the conference? And do you believe you'll get back into the NCAA tournament?
I believe we have a great chance if we stay healthy. And I know that's so cliche, but I believe our top 5, our starting 5 is better than anyone in the league. And that's how I'm going to answer that question. Now, on the flip side, Lauren's missed a couple games this year, and we had a couple setbacks without her, but I really feel so good about the depth of our basketball team. I think we're in better position to do what you just said than last year. So I like our chances.
Well, Matt, we're very happy for your success. It's been fun watching this team, and hopefully it's even bigger and better the rest of this year. Thank you so much for your time.
Greg, thank you. We look forward to the next challenge.
Rhodes is back on the hardwood tomorrow night at home when they face Sewanee at 6 p.m. Super Bowl 48 takes place Sunday when the Denver Broncos meet the Seattle Seahawks at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's a rare year when the consensus best 2 regular season teams are meeting for the big prize. The game also pits the NFL's best defense in the Seahawks versus the record-setting offense of the Broncos. Now, since I picked Seattle before the season, I'll stick with the Seahawks to win the big game, 31-28. And that'll do it for the show. Remember, you can see any of our previous shows by going to WKNO.org and clicking on KNO Tonight. Have a great week, enjoy the game, and we'll see you next time.